talk to you today about what is going on in South Africa right now and what is going on in South Africa. And Chris White did a video on this, talk about the vaccines a little bit. And like Chris White said in his video, this is not a pro-vaccine. This is also not anti-vaccine. This is just... But the South African government, the ANC, and also some other African leaders are complaining that that the Western nations are hoarding and getting all the vaccines. Well, that is not true. Let's go talk about something about the company Johnson & Johnson, who's almost finalizing their vaccine. They went to the ANC government in South Africa and offered to sell the vaccine to them at half cost. Vutsarko says, hi all, hey Vutsarko. And they offered to sell the ANC the vaccine at half cost. Well, the ANC government still said that was too expensive and that was still too much money. That's what the ANC government says. Never mind that Johnson & Johnson was trying to help the ANC. And that is just ridiculous that that's going on, okay? That is just ridiculous that that has happened. And the ANC government embezzles money for their beamers, for their private jets. Cyril Ramaphosa basically hijacked South African Airways so he and about 11 of his cronies could fly all over the country of South Africa. And South African Airways is basically bankrupt, okay? And he seems like he wants the IMF to bail South African Airways out. Okay, this is just getting ridiculous. This just shows you how bad the entitlement culture is amongst the ANC and how the ANC just blames the West for everything and then they want the West to bail them out. That is just outright ridiculous if you ask me, personally. Okay, that is what's happening in South Africa right now, and that is just ridiculous, okay? The West got the vaccine from their own, they're getting vaccines for their own citizens first. That's just common sense, and it's priority, okay? Second of all, India is making most of the vaccines through the National Serum Institute of India, and India has distributed the vaccines to a large portion of third world nations like Bangladesh, like Sri Lanka, just to name a few. So this just gives you an example of Cyril Ramaphosa just trying to start trouble, and he's not trying to take responsibility for his own actions or take responsibility for the actions of the entire ANC. And that is just absolutely ridiculous. And Chris White did a good video on this, and I recommend that you guys do go check it out, to be honest with you. How are you guys doing? Let's get the chat going. Thank you, Vutsarko, for saying hey all. Hey, Vutsarko, how are you? And I also want to talk about what is going on with the in India right now. In India, there was a Republic Day. On January 26, 1950, India's signed its constitution into law. They got their independence from the UK on August 15th, 1947. But on January 26, 1950, that's when their constitution was signed and drafted. So they had a Republic Day parade. Well, a lot of the farmers who are opposing a lot of India's Prime Minister Modi's deregulation efforts were trying to stage a protest during the same time. But they agreed not to start storming the streets until the Republic Day parades in their capital, New Delhi, was over. But they broke that agreement. Instead of hitting the streets at 12 p.m., which is what they said they were going to do after the parades were over, a lot of the farmers stormed the streets and broke the barricades at 8 a.m. Many of the farmers weren't wearing a mask, which will contribute to the spread of COVID-19. And there are only supposed to be about 2 to 3 people per tractor with that protest. But there were actually sometimes 5 or 6 people on those tractors. I saw that. The Indian news channel India Today did a good segment on that. So that is what's going on, and that is just ridiculous that that's going on. Now, India did display on their Republic Day celebrations the Rafale jet fighters that they got from France. That's an efficient jet fighter that can counter a lot of the Chinese MiGs and a lot of the Chinese fighter planes. And one of the pilots there was India's first female fighter pilot. So I thought that was a massive achievement for Indian society to be doing that. Now, what I talked about on Ronaldo's stream when I sent those messages, Asian Boss got demonetized by YouTube and they may have to shut down. Their goal was to raise about 500,000 US dollars and they're about at 400,000 US dollars, and they only had that video about a day ago. I'm going to post a link to the GoFundMe page. I've donated 25 US dollars out of my own pocketbooks. So much money right now is coming through. 5 US dollars would be more than enough right now. And the two founders of the channel Asian Boss, Steve and Kei. Kei is Japanese. He spells his name Kei. And Kei had a lucrative career as an architect. Steve had a lucrative career as a corporate lawyer. But they left those lucrative careers because they saw a divided world. And there was a huge amount of distrust between Asia and the West. So they started this media company to go around and interview people from India and Japan and China about what they thought of various things Western. And then sometimes they would go to America and interview people about what they thought about all things Asian to try to build a bridge of trust between Asia and the West. Well, when YouTube demonetized a lot of their stuff, they fell into a lot of business debt. So I'm going to post a link to the GoFundMe page, and I'm also going to post a link to the video where you guys can see where they tell their story and how they may have to shut down. But right now, they're doing a good job right now. They're of getting donations, and they are, last time I checked the GoFundMe page, they are making progress, and they should be good in a couple of days. But I'm going to go ahead and post the links right here and get that taken care of. So, how are you guys doing? What's new? If you guys have any comments or questions, just feel free to hit me up in the chat. Thanks again, Vutsarko, for saying hey all, or hi all. And how are you guys doing? Thanks for the 2 likes right here. Thank you very much. Appreciated. I'm at 920 subscribers, by the way. I'm at 920 subscribers. Hoping to get to 1,000 soon. But Ronaldo Host is not at 98,000 subscribers anymore. He's at 97,900. And Chris White's steadily losing subscribers. YouTube is unsubscribing people from his channel left and right. And that is just outright ridiculous. And Vutsarko says, wow, that is true. I mean, it is just outright ridiculous that is going on. And that's the link to the Asian Ball, to the video. And then I'm going to post a link to the GoFundMe page. And like I said, they've done a really good job, Asian Boss, bridging the trust between the West and Asia. And just like Ronaldo Host being a YouTuber, trying to bridge a gap between various South African groups, particularly blacks and whites. And that's one of the reasons that really attracted me to Ronaldo Host's channel. And also, I really like the work he does as a ward counselor in Nelson Mandela Bay. I really admire what he's doing for the people in Nelson Mandela Bay. When that water pipe in Nelson Mandela Bay burst, he was on the ground trying to help get the thing fixed so the residents in his ward would not be without clean water. And I'm really proud of Ronaldo Host for doing that. But ask you guys, what do you guys think? Oh, not Cyril Ramaphosa, excuse me, but Herman Mashaba recently went on Twitter and called for the DA, the FF Plus, the African Christian Democratic Party, and the UDM, and then the Inkatha Freedom Party to join coalition against the ANC. And I firmly believe that Herman Mashaba is right. I think Herman Mashaba has some messed up views on race relations as well as expropriation without compensation. But at the same time, the ANC, because of their corruption, needs to have a united front. And if the opposition puts a united front without the EFF against the ANC, that would be a good chance of the ANC getting ousted from power. Because right now, the ANC's locked. Okay, the ANC wants the vaccines for free, number one. They don't want to pay for them. But at the same time, the reason they can't collect a lot of the tax revenue is because they shut down a lot of the businesses. They shut down a lot of the businesses so people can't pay the taxes. So the ANC may not be able to purchase the vaccines, but I firmly believe that they can, because there is about $2 billion US worth of rand that was supposed to go to fund public hospitals that have been unaccounted for. But missing funds for the ANC has not been anything new. I mean, it has not been anything new. Missing government funds for the ANC is like a description of the ANC, unfortunately. And it's just crazy with what's happening with that. Oh, another thing that Joe Biden did, he allowed transgenders to join the U.S. military again. I think Trump banned that and didn't want transgenders to serve, and rightfully so. Okay, here's the thing with transgenders. I don't care if a man dresses as a woman or vice versa, but when you're in a locker room or you're in a shower with somebody and you are of the opposite gender and you have the opposite genitalia as people in that shower, is sick, okay? If you've had a sex change, that's a different story. If you've had a legal sex change where the organs got changed, but when you were dressed up just as somebody else, that's just sick to do something like that. It's sick and it's sadistic and it's messed in the head, to be honest with you. Also, here's what's going to happen. This is going to be the end to all female sports as we know it, because male and men and women's bodies are different. And in the athletic world, not always, but typically the male athletes are faster and they're stronger. Now, not always, but a lot of times they are. And this one female, she was on the conservative network Newsmax TV. She was looking to get a track and field scholarship, and she was on the way of getting one from high school and get a university scholarship for track and field. She was a good sprinter. But during the state finals, she lost bad to two male transgender athletes, and they got the scholarships, and then they're going to be running female track for the university. This is going to be the end of female sports as we know it, because Joe Biden also just signed an executive order that allowed transgenders to compete in the sport of their choice. This is going to be an end to the WNBA as we know it. This is going to be an end to a lot of women's figure skating. This will be the end to female sports as we know it, and it wasn't caused by the Republicans. It was caused by the Democrats. So Vutsarko says without EFF, yes. And Vutsarko, with going against ANC, I agree. But Vutsarko says it's cheating, yes. And I'm not trying to sound sexist or anything here, but when a lot of males, if they're not good enough to be in the male sports, they'll just go over, dress as women, go to the female sports, and then they'll creep out a lot of women in the locker room, number one. And it could be a dangerous situation for that. But then also, number two, they're going to keep a lot of female athletes from getting, well, excuse me, I'm sorry, hang on one second. My apologies. Drop the phone right there. Getting scholarships for sports. And a lot of these female athletes may come from poor families, or they may come from families where the father makes them pay for their own college, and then they may instill discipline, but then they may not be able to go to college because they'll lose scholarships to transgender athletes. And it is cheating. Vutsarko is right. It's cheating, plain and simple, to do something like that. And it's outright disgusting, to be honest with you. It's just outright disgusting. Okay? I mean, there's just no easy way to say it. And that's just, like I said, it's just, again, it's outright sick. That's we talked about Joe Biden. We talked about this yesterday, but Joe Biden banning the travel to and from South Africa if you're Americans. And like I said, I support this decision. I hate to say it. I hope to visit South Africa one day, but I just the virus evolved there. The ANC does not have a plan to conquer the virus. They don't have a plan of distributing vaccines. They just want those vaccines for free. Never mind that Johnson & Johnson offered to sell the vaccine at half price to them. So I think that the America needs to try to protect themselves. And I'm going to show you my story of why I got the vaccine, why I'm doing social distancing, why I'm limiting my travel until my vaccine kicks in. And even then, I'm going to still wear a mask, still do a lot of things as a precaution. My personal opinion is I believe that as a citizen of the world, as an American, and then as a member of my family, I need to try to do everything possible to try to limit the spread of the COVID-19 and to try to not catch it when I'm around my family. So I believe I owe it to the world, to my family, and to my country to try to stop the spread of COVID-19. Now, you guys may think differently. If you guys think differently, that is your opinion, and that is fine by me. Okay? You want to think differently about that with the COVID-19? That's your opinion. I'll tell you an article I read in the BBC, this guy called Max in the UK that violated a lot of the, so not just social distancing, but he was bringing so many people into his house for parties, for dinners, and social gatherings. Well, towards the end of the article, Max was talking about how he regretted a lot of that and believes he needs to play his part to try to help curb the spread of the COVID-19. That is how I firmly believe, number one. I mean, that's just how I firmly believe that we need to try to do what we can to limit the spread of the COVID-19. And I've had I'm not relatives, but I had a family friend who was an ER nurse that died from the COVID-19. I mean, she died when she was treating COVID-19 patients. This COVID-19 situation, I firmly believe, is real. Now, with that being said, Trump didn't cause the COVID-19. The Wuhan virus, it originated in a Wuhan lab. And it did not originate from nature. Now, there were some U.S. scientists that said that it did, but the U.S. media company came out and said the only reason we said that is because our Chinese friends who were scientists were receiving death threats if they didn't say that it originated from nature. And we didn't want our Chinese scientist friends to get killed, but we really didn't know if it originated from nature. So the chances are almost 100% that it originated in a lab in Wuhan, China, and that it didn't originate in nature. So that's basically what the deal is. So Trump had nothing to do with that. Also, Trump was a good president. I don't care what people say, okay? He has done nothing of impeach worthy. Okay, number one, the unemployment was at an all-time low, and African-American unemployment was actually lower than Caucasian